And we got a lot to talk about. But Elijah, we got to talk about the riots, man.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about because people have seen the clips, but they don't get a lot of the context.
You are on the ground.
Yeah, I unfortunately my life's been on the ground for 27 years. I've been on the ground watching things that I never thought I would see with my eyes, like face to face.
You were just in Kenosha?
I was in Kenosha for longer than I thought, and you know what's weird about that? Kenosha, people don't realize Kenosha's a little bit north of Chicago.
Yep.
I was actually in Chicago covering Black Lives Matter unrest when the riots broke out in Kenosha.
Interesting.
And I had to get a rental car and go drive up to Kenosha.
How long did it take you to get there? Like a half hour? 45 minutes?
90 minutes.
90, really?
It took me 90 minutes.
Where?
I don't know why. Maybe it was traffic.
Maybe. There was traffic?
Yeah, I mean it was there was toll roads and just weird stuff. So
yeah. Were you on the south side of Chicago with the riots, or was it like downtown?
Well, specifically, I was in downtown. I was staying at the Hotel Chicago, which is not that glamorous, but it's all right. It's like a 3-star hotel. It's what you get in the media business.
It's like kind of gross looking, isn't it? Like on the inside.
You know, Chicago always feels like somebody's gonna come out with like a Tommy gun and light you up. The hallways are always too dim.
No. They come out with like a Glock and they'll
I
turn
know.
it sideways.
Well, it feels like you have 1930s, 1940s organized crime, decor and feel, but with like a modern South Side gang kill you with a Glock kind of mentality.
Yeah. It's interesting because you used to have the Chicago accent and it's kind of gone away now. So where it used to be, look, scene, they pull out their gun. Now it's just a regular guy being like, how do you do, sir? This is my gun. Bang. And you're like, oh, I'm dead.
Well, Chicago, what people don't realize too is there was a free R. Kelly protest going on there, which apparently he has a whole cult in Chicago that follow him like a god. But in order to calm the riots and the looting, you're talking about on every city block in Chicago right now, or at least last weekend that I was there, between 7 to 10 squad cars per block with about 20 to 30 officers posted, like a post-apocalyptic, just heavy police presence. Like, are they hiring people out of like their house? And I don't know where they got all these cops from. I really didn't even know.
So this was because of the looting in Chicago?
Yeah, because Lori Lightfoot and the commissioner decided that obviously they were getting bad PR. There's only a certain amount of looting and rioting that you can allow in your city.
There's a finite
It should
amount,
be
yes.
0, but all right.
I counted at least 3 buildings completely destroyed just next to my hotel.
Wow.
Really, really sad stuff. When you look at it, if you live in a big city, you know exactly the scene I'm talking about. Unfortunately, it's more cities than just Chicago. But what it was a complete occupation, a police occupation. So if you want to talk about less police, actually, by allowing the rioting, you're causing an increased police presence. If you had just stopped it in the beginning, then you wouldn't have all these police out. But I have never seen, I'm telling you, Tim, Lydia, I've never seen that many police in maybe a 12-city block area. It was basically the whole, at least half of the department would have just been there all day.
And that's not going to stop if the riots go to the neighborhoods. Chicago's huge.
And they did. Black Lives Matter went to Whitney, said they went to Whitney High School in Chicago, and they marched to the neighborhoods yelling, and I'm not making this a race issue, they were pointing out, hey, look at those white people up there.
Yeah.
Okay, you come down here, you join us. And they started blasting rap music, which sounded pretty lit, actually. It was pretty good. Pretty good sound system they had, the mobile sound system. They started blasting it to wake up the neighbors, get them out, screaming at them, pointing left and right. You white folks, get down here. And there was a real racial tension in the suburbs. And I've seen this in Seattle, in Portland. I mean, we're seeing this across the country that even as we increase security in the cities, they are coming to our houses. And I'm not fear-mongering.
I've been saying it, man. It's earlier in the year, or even last year. I mean, 3 years ago, I was like, man, it looks like civil war. And a bunch of people were saying things like, oh, calm down, everything's fine. And it wasn't like me just making things up. I reference this all the time. It was an article in The Atlantic saying, tensions are escalating, possibility of civil war is becoming real. And then a lot of these predictions that I made, they were not grandiose predictions, but they started coming true. Like, I was like, oh, man, I think we're going to start seeing major riots based on what we saw with Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown. This is going to keep happening. Then Eric Garner. And then people are like, oh, calm down. There's not going to be, racialized protest. And then, boom, there it goes. And then riots. And then it gets worse and worse and worse because the media fans the flames. But I'll tell you this. Part of what leads me to where I am. Speaking in terms of not Wisconsin and stuff. I was in Wisconsin in, I think it was 2016. I think it was 2016, where there was rioting because this dude got shot and killed. It was a black dude. And when I was there were a bunch of people yelling things like "Get the white people," and an 18-year-old white kid got shot in the neck with a 22. He wasn't even part of the protest. He wasn't anywhere near it. This was in Milwaukee. He was just like crossing the street, and someone saw him and shot him, and he took a bullet in the neck. Fortunately, it was a 22, but it did hit his spine. And so again, look, this is not. I think the good people in this country know it's not about race, but there are certainly racists in this country who want it to be. The kid himself was saved by a black dude, who rescued him, and then the cops came in and brought him away in an APC. But there were a lot of racist people, and they were directly targeting people based on race. And so I made a video where I said straight up, it is dangerous to be here if you are at least perceived to be white or perceivably white. So I can't cover this anymore. And I made a video about it, and boy, did I get, crapped all over from so many lefties, like, you're racist, how dare. I'm like, a kid got shot in the neck, bro. And they were yelling, like, get him, get the white people. And so I was just like, having grown up in Chicago and seen, look, racism exists across the spectrum. It doesn't matter what your race is. You can be racist. The left tries to deny this. I was like, I can't be out here. And a lot of people felt the same, felt similarly. And I've been told this by far left activists that white people shouldn't report in, for POC events.
You know what? I'm going to share my experience. Hi, my name's Elijah. I'm a person of colorlessness. I will let you know I have a theory where all people of color, I think it's such a stupid phrase, honestly, people of color. I mean, I found out what people of color was in college because this was during like the rise of the social justice warrior, back in the early 2010s. And I remember that I had used the phrase, the opposite phrase, which was to be colored people. And my professor gave me a C- and told me that was a pejorative, that was considered discriminatory. Now it's not on the ADL level, but I didn't know that. I actually didn't know. I didn't know that. I'll be honest. When they say that you're ignorant or not woke, I honestly, I just had heard that. And to be fair, I just spoke to some liberal people who use the same phrase recently, and they didn't know that had changed. And she told me it was a person of color. That was the first time I heard of it. And I said, that's fine. Okay, cool. I'll use that.
It's been offensive for a long time.
I just didn't know it though.
Right. The latest thing is that you have to say a person of disability, or so you don't say a disabled person.
So you don't put the descriptor before. Because I mean, this is where I'm a bit uneducated here.
And so the social justice narrative is that they're people first.
Okay, so that's why people of color.
And people of disabilities and people of whatever else.
But see, this is where it gets weird to me because when you get down into it, I said, fine, okay, like I'm okay with that. Okay, I just didn't know that. I'm going fine. I'm in college. I apologize, whatever. I got a C- or whatever on the paper for an ignorant mistake, according to her. And I'm just a young kid, and I didn't realize it.
What class was this?
This was this is upper division theology.
Like you're getting marked down on your grade because
this was the same theology class at Azusa Pacific University where she said she made us imagine what if Jesus was homosexual because of the leaning of the chest at the Last Supper, and even though not realizing that was an artwork, it was basically everything that's wrong with Christianity and theology in the modern era and postmodern
so it was like an
era.
Anti-theology class.
It was like one of those theology class that is probably run by an atheist feminist that knows nothing about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and claims to be a herald and a sponsor. It was like seminary, and I remember like I was there, and I remember thinking that was weird because I actually, my degree is in molecular biology. That's my focus, and genetic engineering and stuff. And I remember thinking, person of color, that goes against all confines of science. We are all people of color. Like everybody is everybody, but I'm saying on a scientific term.
It's political, But
that's where I first got. That's where I first started realizing that politics doesn't follow logic. It doesn't follow science.
Yeah.
It doesn't follow any sort of basis for reason, because I'm going, look, I'm freckled. I'm a person of concentrated color. Like I'm a lobster. Like if you look at me on the camera, I'm basically a hue of red or pink. Like, I mean, and it's just so weird when I go to these events. I don't think about race. I don't think about all these things until I go to these events, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I'm around these people that are, fighting me, saying you were racist, or fighting the white people up there. And who's talking about race? Who's talking about division? Who's sowing the seeds of discourse and problems in our country? It's those who are heralding unification.
Well, they claim to be heralding unification. They're not. They're heralding division, like digitization or balkanization. They want to separate everybody. That's one of my biggest problems with everything that's been going on. So when you see, like these riots, which are seeking to enforce through terror this ideology, then for me, it's the same issue, right? That's why recently I came out and said I was going to vote for Trump specifically for this reason.
Nice.
You've got. Look, there's only so early on when you see like the SJWs in culture and gaming and all that stuff, it's like, wow, we better do something about this. Now it's in government. Now the CDC, 10% of their employees wrote a letter demanding that the CDC declare a national health crisis of racism. And I'm like,
is that real?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I believe you. I wish you were lying.
It makes no sense. But we've seen cities across the country do it, declare racism to be a public health crisis. And then what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, because it's true, will you discriminate against people now? Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me by saying that's the case. It seems like it doesn't actually make any sense. It's just meant to be a play for power.
Right. And this is where I want to bring things up, because on one hand, I want to be really fair. And I think that there's a weird faction of the right wing that goes, we're all equal. Everybody's got an equal playing field. You're like, yeah. But also, too, like that kid in the wheelchair probably won't be as good at football as that 6'5", 280-pound freshman. I'm not predicting. I'm just going to say there are some things that either we're born with, or even our families or socioeconomic status, that in the left's terms do allow us and make us privileged in this is their words, not mine, into having maybe certain opportunities. Do I agree that America is the best place to overcome the disparaging differences and negativities in your own life? Yes. But I think that if we're going to have a conversation about, problems economically or culturally in the black community, or issues with race relations between white and black people and why that exists based on certain crime stats or issues, I'm okay with that. And I think those conversations should happen, especially in areas of academia. But when you take the intellectually lazy response or approach and just say, well, it's that inherently all white people have internalized misogyny, imperialism, and racism.
That's just racism,
right? But I'm saying, like, and we all are somehow against black people. Black people therefore cannot be racist because racism is really discrimination with power. This whole critical race theory.
But look,
it's just BS.
The issue is that the left is overtly racist. They're avowed racists, and I'm not making this up.
No, I agree.
The Robin DiAngelo, what is that her name?
Yeah, Robin DiAngelo.
She's an avowed racist. DiAngelo.
So, yeah.
Sponsored by corporations.
Avowed. Let me show you some proof. Check this out. I got this tweet here from Rod Dreher. He says, Northwestern University Law School had a town hall meeting online recently. Everybody began with a ritual denunciation of themselves as racist. The reader, Professor Speta is not racist. He is a wonderful man, universally loved by students. It makes me sad that he is forced to say otherwise. I don't care whether he was forced to say it or not, because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who the guy is. All I can tell you is this. Here's a text message where Emily Mullen, I don't know who she is, says she's a racist. Sarah Summervoid says she is a racist. And James Speta says he is a racist. They are avowed racist. Stop listening to their opinions.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. When you see the Black Lives Matter sign pop up on Netflix, or I want you to go to the people who run the Boston Red Sox and say, so this person, here's a chapter in their book where they say they're a racist. Is it normal policy for you to build your marketing based off of overt racism? Why do you hate minorities? They straight up say right here they're racist. They're saying it to us.
Listen.
Why is anyone on the left listening to them?
Listen, this is where my mind, fireworks, just my brain explodes, because what I've always noticed too is it's the people lecturing us that are the ones going, hey, look, man, it's like this, being like, look, man, I want to talk to you about your violent tendencies and fixing them. I'm a murderer. I've ripped people's heads off with my bare hands, and I want to talk to you about how you're violent. And you go, wait a second. I'm not violent. And they go, have you ever been mad at someone? And you go, yeah. And they go, have you ever had a secret thought that you wanted to take someone's life? even faintly, and you go, not really, and they go, well, have you ever just like watched a movie and wondered how it's done? You go, yeah. You go, see, there you go, you're a murderer, and you go,
well, hold on,
no, I literally no,
wait, hold on. So look, I'm not going to read. Actually, that's an ignorant thing to say. I should definitely read White Fragility. My understanding of it, and to be completely fair, is based off of critical analysis from some people.
You should make a show out of it and just do it with your audience. They would
I
would watch it with you.
I'd imagine that the video would get taken down for the things she says. Do you know that? So correct me if I'm wrong, but she says that she is uncomfortable around black people. Robin DiAngelo or whatever. She says that when she walks into a room full of black people, she feels uncomfortable. And that's, again, my understanding is coming from critical analysis from other people. But if that's true, I mean, she's an avowed racist. I don't understand that feeling. You know, I grew up in an area with all these different people of different races. I don't feel uncomfortable around people.
But they know they're racist. See, you come up with a good point, and I can't out these people because now they have really high ranking level jobs in big corporations, and they may or may not have a relation to me. So I got to be careful here. But you know, I've watched them. They're staunch liberals, staunch Democrats on the left.
They're not liberals.
Well, I'm just saying, like according to their own, they're self-avowed, self-described. And the things they say about minorities in the United States are things I've never thought to even say. And I'm going, no wonder why you think everyone's racist, because you have such racist thoughts about people that you think we all do. And for instance, I was in an elevator with one of these people, and these Asian people walked in, and this is their words, not mine. Do not take me out of context. And I'm going to use
don't quote them.
I'm going to using very subtle. I'm using
just paraphrase
translation. Yeah, translation of like, oh my gosh, like why they said, why are Asians so like not aware of their social surroundings and so annoying? And I literally sat there and I went, they're standing right there. Like, how would you just say that out loud? Now this person fights racism. They're against racism, everything. I'm going, well, no wonder why you're fighting racism whenever like an Asian just maybe coincidentally like just maybe is in a conversation ignores you and you assume that all Asians are just ignorant of social spaces in public. That's a discriminatory thought across the board because not all Asians are first generation.
So
you know,
going back to the point you made where you're like the murderer says, I've ripped, you know, people's heads off. See, the counterpoint I would have is if Robin DiAngelo came to me and she told me she was an avowed racist who is uncomfortable around, you know, brown people or black people or whatever, and then she said, have you ever had this thought? I'd say, no. I can honestly say it's not the case. Maybe it's because I come from a mixed race family. No, I don't.
Wait, you mixed race family. What's your ethnicity?
Korean.
You're part Korean?
Yeah, that's what I said. Is
that why you're so smart? No, I'm just kidding.
You know what's really funny about this though? I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about YouTube demonetization and like shutting down channels. And I was, you know, they were saying it's political and they're targeting the right. And I said, I think it's kind of everybody. Like my mom makes math tutorial videos and they came and demonetized her. And then my friend was like, why am I not surprised your Korean mom makes math videos? And you know, the first thing I did was I texted my mom. I was like, this is amazing. And my mom was laughing about it. She loved it. She thought it was funny because we know it was supposed to be mocking the stereotype. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be...
It's good humor.
No. The idea when this person made this joke was not to insult me. It was to actually like insult the stereotype. It was like, there's this silly stereotype and here's a joke and we laugh about it.
And what I don't you know how I know that it's all BS? Because if we can still laugh at racist jokes towards white people, then people still understand that there's a difference between humor and culture and real actual hatred in your heart. Like if you can still make a joke about a white person and be like, you know, like let's say I try to like dunk a ball and I miss or something and someone goes, yeah, nice jump, white boy. And I'm not like, I've had a black guy say that to me on a basketball court. Believe it or not, I play basketball sometimes, bad at it because I'm left-handed and I've compound fractured my left arm, so the ball always goes a little bit some weird direction.
Just turn your body slightly.
Yeah, it's very, very, very odd. Like the world right now, just in weird direction. But I will say this, that, you know, when someone says, oh, you can't jump, I don't think like, oh, there's a black guy that hates white people. I'm thinking he's just mocking it. Like there's tons of white people who jump in the NBA. Nobody thinks white people inherently can't jump, but there's just stereotypes like white people like bland food, white people don't dance. Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. But like nobody's like, if I dance and it's funky and someone says, oh, you can't dance because you're white, I'm not offended.
But hold on, there actually is a good counterpoint to this. I see a lot of these lefties say things like white people have no culture, which is derivative of this.
Yikes.
You've heard this before, though, right?
Yeah, I think it's stupid.
Like, didn't Trudeau say something in Canada about like Canadians have no culture or something? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that right off.
I don't have it pulled
what
up.
is Trudeau? Who even wants to remember what Trudeau says?
Seriously, good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. But so deriving from these jokes, people take them seriously. And I think this is a perfect example of why you get people on the left who feel the way they do. They literally are racist. They are telling us, they are screaming in our faces. And people, look, man, with all due respect, this guy, Rod, who says, reader, Speta is not a racist. It's sad he has to say this. I'm like, no. Anybody who says they're a racist, I'm going to believe them. Listen, if you're that spineless to where you're like, you know the Star Trek thing, there are 4 lights?
No, enlighten me.
Captain Picard gets kidnapped by, it's an alien race, I kid you not, called the Cardassians. And they're yeah.
For real?
Yeah, they're really gross looking, so don't,
Do they have artificial butts?
No, they don't. It was well before the Kardashians. But anyway, they're torturing him, and he said there's 4 lights in front of him, and he's like, there are 5 lights. And Picard keeps saying, there are 4 lights, and like defying that they were trying to force him to believe this. It's very similar to what we've been seeing lately with the 2 + 2 = 5 thing. You've seen that? Yeah, so you have these people right now. If they're saying they're racists, I'll take their word for it. I'm not gonna argue games. I'm not gonna say, oh, they must have been forced to admit publicly that they were racist. I'm like, dude, if you want to come out and say you're a racist, I'll take your word for it. I don't want to have anything to do with you, and I don't think we should be listening to your opinions if you would say that. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., so come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.